Hey, what's up you guys, it's Desiree and today I will be reviewing Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. This is a young adult high fantasy novel about a girl named Selenas Dog who is the world's most renowned assassin, and she is only 18 years old and not that many people know she's that young. She has spent the last year of her life as a prisoner or a slave in this death camp. Now she has been brought to the castle and she's told to compete in this competition to become the king's champion, where she has to defeat 23 other killers, thieves, and soldiers to become the king's assassin. And if she does win, then she will not have to go back to prison and she will have to serve the king as his personal assassin for 4 years, and then she'll finally be free. But then her competitors start mysteriously dying one by one, and she's trying to figure out what this evil is that dwells in the castle, and suddenly her fight for freedom becomes a fight for survival. Honestly, this book did not live up to the hype for me. I was expecting this to be a 5 out of 5 star read, but I only gave it 4 out of 5 stars, which is still pretty good. It still meant that I liked it, but there was just that little something that was missing, and it just didn't blow me away for high fantasy. So this book originally started off as a twist on the Cinderella story. Like, what if Cinderella was running from the ball for a whole different reason? Like, what if she just tried to kill the prince? So that's how this started, but then it's grown into its own thing since its first draft like a decade ago. And I love the little nods to Cinderella in this, even though I don't actually like the Cinderella story. But I enjoyed the nods to that fairy tale in this book, such as in Selena's physical description with the blonde hair and blue eyes, and then the whole ball scene. There's a whole ball scene, and that is just obviously you guys. But this is not at all a retelling, okay? It's not. It's its own thing, like I said, it's its own thing. I also liked the theme of like women power that was present throughout the entire book, that women can do anything that guys can do, if not better, and they're just as strong, if not stronger, and like a girl can kick a guy's butt. I also felt that there was a really good amount of world building in this for a first book in a series, like the physical description of the world and how the land is laid out. Like, compared to reading Snow Like Ashes, I got really confused about the lore and how the land was laid out, because travel time from one land to another was just like a few days, but in this, travel time from one land to another was like weeks of journeying, and that was more realistic than just like a couple days, because a couple days didn't match the map in Snow Like Ashes, but it really made sense for how the land was laid out in this. And I just overall think that this book did a really good job of setting up the rest of the series. I'm super excited to get to reading the rest of the series, especially because of that ending. It wasn't really a cliffhanger, but that sneak peek that is in the back of this book for Crown of Midnight got me excited, really excited. And now I'll be talking about the characters in this book, mainly Selena, and I'll touch on some other characters. But overall, I really enjoyed all the characters in this book, even the bad characters. The bad characters were good bad guys, you know what I mean? Selena is definitely not a one-dimensional character. Even though she's an assassin, she still has feelings like everyone else. She's scared, and she's afraid, and she's lonely like anyone would be in her position, and it's just, I love her. She's hilarious, and she's brave, and she's determined, and she's sarcastic, and I loved her so much. She's this broken and scared thing, and it's just so sad, but then she covers it up with this strong exterior, and no one knows that she's actually hurting inside, and she's scared, and she's afraid, and she's lonely, and all these things, and I just felt for her. She just wants to know what freedom is like, and I feel so bad for her. I love her. People have been saying that she's this deadly assassin that loves dresses, but that's actually not really the case. In the beginning, she does say she prefers tunics and pants over dresses. She kind of grows to like just get used to dresses, but she has always cared about how she looks and how she is presented in front of people, and I really enjoyed that characteristic of hers because I felt like that just made her a bit more realistic, and it was a nice reprieve from the other young adult heroines who just downright hate dresses and girly things and anything ladylike. It was nice. Also, Selena is reminiscent of Katse from Graceling for me. They just seem a lot like the same person, probably because they kind of do the same thing. I also love how she loves reading and eating and music because I love those things too. And I just always love it when you get to know what a character's hobbies are and that they love reading. I always really like that. Also, this is the first book that I have ever read where the main character or girl in the book gets their period and a whole 2 or 3 pages was dedicated to that experience, and she also gets really bad cramps. I also really liked seeing the development that Selena went through from being this slave prisoner in this death camp, and she's kind of broken. She doesn't really have much of a will to live, but for some reason she just keeps surviving, and then she changes kind of, and she kind of goes back to who she used to be, this great assassin that she used to be, but with those new experiences of the past year that has changed her, and now she's like this broken warrior. Now moving on to the guys, specifically Kale and Dorian, and the romance. There is a love triangle in this book, but the romance definitely takes a back seat to the whole plot. It's just kind of there, but then Selena's like, you know what? I don't need a guy. I am totally fine on my own and I can do this. But I also really liked seeing the differences in how Kale and Dorian saw Selena. Kale is just like, nah, you're like, you can kill me. You can kill Dorian, my best friend. Nah, but you're pretty. And I see that and I recognize that. And then Dorian's just like, he sees the pretty girl and recognizes that she's also an assassin, but he's just like, okay, she's an assassin, but she's a pretty girl who likes reading books and who like isn't afraid to talk back to me, the crown prince, and who likes music and pours like her heart and soul into playing the piano. And he sees that. Throughout the book, I couldn't really decide who I liked more, Kale or Dorian, but after having time to sit on that, like 2 weeks to sit on that and think about who I liked more, I think I am hashtag Team Kale. Just because his situation at the end is just so sad and I feel so bad for him, and I just want to give him a hug and just tell him it's okay and he's gonna be okay. Moving on to like the bad guys, I could definitely see the connection between the 2 most obvious bad guys. I knew there was something connecting them to the bad things that were happening, and then the other 2 people that are involved in the whole scheme and overall bad thing that's gonna happen in the rest of the series, I did not see that coming at all. I did not see them being involved in this, and I am really excited to see how that plays out in the rest of the books. Now I will be talking about some of my favorite parts in this book, and one of them is when we see Selena fight for the very first time, her first like training lesson with Kale, and they're sparring, and it's just like she closes her eyes and you kind of get in the zone with her. And then all of a sudden, she's like flying through the room and she's fighting with Kale. And then that was just like so cool. And when I read it, I was just like, whoa, this is awesome. It's like if this was a movie, then the camera would like zoom in onto her eyes her closed eyes, and then they would like fly open, and then the shot would like widen out and you would see her fighting with Kale. You'd suddenly be watching this fight that's like a dance, and it would just be so cool, and oh my gosh, yes. I also really liked when Selena woke up to her dog licking her face, and then she's just like, did you pee somewhere and wish to tell me about it? It's just so funny. I liked it. It was just a cute little moment. And another one of my favorite moments is so cheesy, and it was billiards with Dorian and Selena. They were playing billiards in her room, and she was not very good at it, and he puts his arm around her and shows her how to do it, and it was so cheesy, and he knew that it was the oldest trick in the book, but he did it anyways. And to wrap it up, I had questions that I hoped would have been answered in this book, but they just weren't, and I understand why, since this is a 6-book series, so hopefully we'll get answers to those really quickly or soon, like who the heck is Sam, and also who is Selena. She still has a lot of mystery surrounding her as well. I have some theories on who she might be. I think I have written those in my Goodreads review if you want to go see some of my like predictions on who she might be. I am just super excited to see how the rest of the series turns out and what the characters do next and where they go and how they develop. I am just excited for the rest of this. So that is it for my Throne of Glass review. I hope you enjoyed that, and give it a thumbs up because then I'll know I'm doing something right, and then I'll do more reviews. Let me know your thoughts on the book below, but don't give me any spoilers for the rest of the series, please. Be considerate of the people who have not yet read the book or the rest of the series, like me. Be friendly, and I will see you guys next time in another video. Bye!